Somebody once told me that Wizards of the Coast will eventually get around to making paper and online legacy look the same, but periodically fuck us over by not releasing cards simultaneously, sometimes leaving it months without releasing cards printed in supplemental sets online, and also allowing their prices to spike to hilarious and rather silly proportions because the chest economy is bullshit.
These are not the Battlebond cards you are looking for.
Over a month has passed since Battlebond was released, and we now finally have access to the cards on MTGO to play with them. However, all the good ones are very, very expensive. Why did Wizards of the Coast wait to the M19 update to add them to MTGO? Well, other than the underfunding the development team of Magic the Gathering Online, I haven't really got the foggiest fucking idea. Wizards, please. Oh, and as if to add insult to injury, only a handful of them are actually available. So if you're looking to play, I don't know, a Commander-themed episode of Commander Clash, you're shit out of luck. So, alongside Deathrite, Shaman and Gitaxian Probe being banned, Legacy has been shaken to its very core. Gone are the days of 4-colour good stuff piles, playing a mana dork for 1 black mana and surviving through an onslaught of wastelands. If you want to hear my in-depth sort of theory or opinions on that, I made a video on it. It's in the description below, it's in the cards on screen. I might even stick it at the end of this video, so you should go watch that after this one. But long story short, I'm excited, and I for one embrace our new overlords. Death and Taxes is now in a better position than it has been for quite some time. Its mana denial strategies have been buffed and pulled out of the festering underbelly of the format, with the absence of the omnipresent little shit rag elf that held the format up in its previous guise. You can now port them and wasteland them, and they won't just use their Deathrite Shaman to get back in the game. Well, and on top of that, we should hopefully see less K-Command, another nemesis of the Death and Taxes archetype. Now, D&T has arguably had the most amount of new toys printed for it in recent supplemental sets. Conspiracy 2 alone gave us Recruit of the Guard, Sanctum Prelate, and Palace Jailer. Funnily enough, Jailer himself took almost 2 months to reach MTGO, with my constant pleading. Eventually Wizards of the Coast folded, listened, and gave the enfranchised players like myself what they had asked for. Did they fuck? They only added it once some legend top 8 a GP with the card, otherwise you probably still wouldn't have Jailer now. And aside from that, not much focus is being put on the uncommons and commons from Conspiracy 2 and Treasure Chest because, well, probably because it doesn't attract new players to the game and only serves those of us that are loyal enough to buy product and attend GPs in spite of complaints and issues with the company how the game is being run. And whilst we're on that topic, a little bit of a side tangent here, have you seen that they are printing Arena exclusive cards into Arena standard environment? This is to supposedly improve the new player experience, but in reality seems to be the exact fucking opposite. Firstly, the cards are shit, which in a way is a good thing as it means that they won't warp Arena standard to be too different from paper standard. I mean, ultimately, what the fuck are those? But then when little Russell, your local new player, goes to move from Arena to paper, he's going to have a bit of a shock when he has to mix up his deck significantly when his 5 mana aura that gives his creature +3/+3 and flying isn't actually available in paper. He'll be like, oh wow, there's the difference between online and paper, and you'll be like, well, not really. And then he'll pull out of his bag that Chinese Planeswalker deck and be like, can I play with these? And you're like, well, actually, those aren't legal here either. I mean, who the fuck benefits from any of this? Jesus fucking Christ, don't make your game any more complicated than it already is. What are you thinking? Anyway, collect your thoughts. Let's return to the topic at hand. Brightling. It's the hot new stuff. A mythic from a supplemental set only available through Treasure Chest lotteries online will, if good enough, demand a similar online price to True Name Nemesis, if not more. Great. Brightling is the latest addition to the cycle of Ling creatures that started with the first Superman Morphling. Shapeshifters that come with a plethora of abilities able to pump power or toughness at the detriment of the opposing statistic. They also have abilities that are unique to each one, often drawing influence from their own portion of the colour pie. Whilst the original could gain flying, the green one could gain trample, and the updated blue one, which was Aetherling, which is one of my favourite cards actually for playing in standard, could straight up become unblockable. And the red one ended up, as it is usual with cycles and red cards, being the worst by a country mile as it had no evasion built into its kit. At time of recording, I have never cast a Torchling and I probably never will. Brightling falters in a similar way, not having any form of evasion. It does have the pump abilities and it does have a protection ability which is common amongst the cycle. They can all protect themselves from removal. However, what it has in place of evasion is lifelink and vigilance. Yeah. Great. The problem with Brightling in a deck like Death and Taxes is that it begs for you to keep your mana up when you want to really be porting them and wastelanding them in the early game. It doesn't provide any inbuilt evasion to help it get through with your equipment, and it's fighting for space against some pretty good 3-drops that have proven themselves time and time again in multiple meta games within Legacy. The big discussion at the moment is around Mirran Crusader supposedly not being needed now that Deathrite Shaman is gone, but I think with Strix, Gurmag, Goyf, Mandrills, and Mongoose on the loose, as well as maybe even Fatal Push, which is just that Mirran Crusader has a better time getting into the red zone than this Ehrling wannabe. But I guess there's only one way to try it out, and that's to actually play it. So I actually played 3 leagues of the deck, and I've picked the one I did the best with to put up because I want to look like I'm good at the game. I managed 2 3-2s and a 4-1. My list is rather stock, cutting my 2 previous Mirrans for Brightlings and cutting 1 Sarah Avenger for the new M19 utility dude of Remorseful Cleric. It gives us a better game 1 against the Goif decks and possibly Red-Black Reanimator as well, because that deck's a fucking pain in the arse. I've got another Cleric in the sideboard and 2 Surgicals to hedge my bets against the resurgence of graveyard decks in the format, which means that I'm able to trim down to just 1 rip in my board. Disenchant and War and Peace give us better game against the Mirror, which is another expected entity. Other than that, the rest of the deck is pretty much how I was playing it back at the last GP. Before we crack on with the league, I just want to give a big shout out to my patrons. On screen, you'll see my top tier patrons who are supporting the channel and supporting me to push this towards a full-time vocation. I want to make videos about my nerdy hobbies for a living because that would be the dream, and I do feel that I bring a unique take to the world of MTG content. If you want to support the channel, and you can click through the link in the description below to give up just $2, which is more than 1,000 monetized views to the channel. That also gives you access to our Discord where we talk about shitting in shoes, we berate Ape of Justice for his life choices in playing Storm, and occasionally we discuss sexy cats with 6-packs. Yeah, don't ask too much about that. We have one particular member who can be your guide on that subject, but I won't mention her name here. We also do a Brewmaster challenge each week as well, where we brew decks that I play on stream, and generally we just get on as a nice community, even if we have opposing political opinions, because you can treat others with respect if you just fucking try. If you want to support the channel more indirectly, you can always make use of my wonderful sponsors. Both MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games have been immensely supportive and helpful to the channel. Traders sells digital cards on MTGO, and Cape Fear sells physical cards on international shipping. Both offer 8% off any of your orders using PayPal by the discount code GGGetWrecked that you can see on screen now. So treat yourself to some cards, perhaps some lovely didgeridoos, and use the discount code in order to support what I'm doing here. Now, without further ado, and I swear some prick in the comments will say, oh my god, it took you like 8 minutes to get to the gameplay. No! Well, come on guys, some context, a deck tech, a couple of jokes. Does it fucking hurt you to watch this stuff? If you don't like it, fuck off. And without further ado, it's Brightling time. Let's see if she can have a time in the sun and not be shit. Spoilers, I think she's gonna be shit. In round 1, I keep a perfectly acceptable hand and lead with basic Plains Aether Vial Go, one of the most beautiful sequences of words in the English language. Our opponent goes Ancient Tomb, takes 2 damage, Revoker, resolves, names Aether Vial. Conversely, this is probably one of my least favourite collection of words when I'm not the one saying them. Fuck you, Revoker. I untap and draw a Recruiter and decide that Athala doesn't do enough against Steel Stompy or Mud, whichever one this is. The Revoke off of a Soul Land suggests it's got to be one of those 2 decks. So I decided that porting him here should keep him off of a 3-drop and a 4-drop, where Thalia will only keep him for a 4-drop in the next turn if he plays a Soul Land. He plays for Zuva to copy his tomb after we've ported him and slaps us with a Revoker. I wasteland him and deploy a Stoneforge, looking to get some pressure on the board now and a way to kill the Revoker. I could have took another turn to port him, but if he hits another Soul Land, then we don't really get much further, and he gets ahead and mana out from underneath the lock. Cavern on Construct, Grim Monolith into Grim Monolith. The mismatching monoliths are an aesthetic choice I can get behind, although the original art is approximately 600 times better than the new art, and that is mathematical fact.
Now that is scientific fact. There's no real evidence for it, but it is scientific fact.
He finishes off this sequence with a Forge Master, so now I have to be fearful of getting wrecked by a Blightsteel Colossus fetched up in end step once this creature's off Summoning Sickness. He attacks with a Revoker and I snap block, killing it. Varl is now back online and we're in business. I feel that was really a punt and a half from our opponent, so we'll add that to his punt counter. I make a Thalia on an end step, I untap and I eventually just pass back and port his Ancient Tomb. He doesn't do a whole lot and passes the turn thanks to the Thalia attacks plus the land being tapped. We make a Recruit with the Garden end step and fetch up a Palace Jailer to give us a direct answer to Blightsteel Colossus if he were to make one. We draw a Wisp, which is just hot fire here, and we play a second port. We pass the turn and we port his Glimmer Potion upkeep. He floats the mana, perhaps to untap his Grim Monolith. I pass priority into his draw step and he goes to it. At this point I port his Tomb, so he's now 1 mana down there and he's down on his Ancient Tomb. This means it makes it super awkward for him. He can't just untap his Grim Monolith with the mana from the lands that I'm porting without me getting to tap his final land down for the turn. Oh, Richard and Port, how I've missed playing with you. He makes a land drop with the Ancient Tomb and plays the Chalice on 1 to protect his dudes from Plowshares. In his second main phase I flicker Wisp off a Varl to flicker out Recruiter, who comes back and end step and fetches me value. I decide to Palace Jailer's Godolphin the Formaster, hoping that he will go for the the Blightsteel line in response by sacrificing it in 2 other artifacts. If he does, we can wisp out Jailer to take the Blightsteel too, and he only gets back these creatures when he deals damage to me, because that's how the Monarch ability works with Jailer. However, he just decides to sack all his stuff to get an untapped Grim Monolith and let the Forge Master go under the Jailer. I smell a massive threat coming now that we're taking turns off porting him and he thinks he's going to have all his mana. Perhaps an Ugin, which would really piss on our parade. We attack for a bunch and then we activate Aether Vial and end step to take out his Monolith for a turn in order to decrease his chance of playing an Ugin. He untaps, fails to find another soul land and doesn't cast an Ugin, instead getting some life back with a simple Glimmer Post. He casts a Lodesteel Golem as a big old blocker. I do some maths and I figure that I can wisp out the blocker and swing for lethal, but I get blown out by either a Spatial Contortion or Warping Wail if he's playing them off this open 3 mana. Now it's not likely, but there's a possibility. I decide to play the safe line instead and just swing for 6 in the air. I revoke his Monolith, I port him off a soul land and still have Wisp off of the Vial if things go horribly wrong from here. Remember, if he manages to cast an Ugin through all this hate, I can just make a Wisp on end step and hit him in the face. Nope, he just scoops. In game 2 I keep a slower hand, but it has disruption for creatures and lands, so it's not too bad. He leads Cloud Post, I lead Plains. He plays a second Cloud Post, which makes the first one make 2 mana and plays a Grim Monolith. I decide to kill one of his posts in the hope that it slows him down. He plays it for Suva, copies a post, and taps out for Cordotha, Forge Master. I plough the ever-loving shit out of it. I play a Thalia and he slams a motherfucking Worm Coil Engine. Shit the bed. I play a Recruiter and go and dig up Stoneforge Mystic in order to allow us to deploy some equipment and perhaps a faster clock through them. So he swings and we take it and he goes to 29 and we're on 14. He plays another Forge Wanker. We decide to use Palace Jailer to take Forgy Boy away because we can't be doing with the Blightsteel Colossus hitting us in the face right now. He plays more lands. He now has access to approximately 1 million mana, so we throw Thalia under the bus in order to maintain the monarchy that we have set up with the Jailer. We untap, attack for 3 and then wisp our Jailer to take his Worm Coil Engine away as well. We also wasteland him here as we have so many lands, the spares don't really matter much. We wasteland him again and disenchant one of his monoliths the next turn, taking him from all the mana to just a measly 7. But 7 is less than Ugin mana, so that's the pretty good spot to be in. We play Stoneforge Mystic, get a Battle Skull, and then draw Council's Judgment with a Monarch trigger at the end of turn. Feels good. We have run him out of resources, he has nothing in play and not enough mana to cast anything that's stuck in his hand. We Judgment the other monolith away, crack in for a whole bunch, and then he plays another Ancient 2. We play a Final Nice, equip it and get in the red zone. We port him, he plays a Sorcerer's Spyglass. Instead of naming the port, which is kicking off the mana to possibly cast an Ugin, he names Battle Skull instead. I don't know. We put him to 1 life, wisp our Wisp to take out a Cloud Post for a turn, and plan to port him in upkeep. With his tombs turned off due to life total, this leaves him with a total of 1 mana. That's just 1 mana. However, he knows he's beat. GG Port E. In round 2, we mulligan a 1-lander with only a Cavern of Souls into this clunky mess. It isn't ideal, but it has a Thalia and Mana Denial in it, so it's better than some 5s against a good number of decks, including combo, so we keep, and we scry away a port to the bottom of our deck. We play a basic Plains and pass. City of Traitors into Charles the Void on 1 means it's almost certainly another Stompy deck. However, City of Traitors turn 1 is always very, very awkward, especially when this Chalice does very little to our deck, and we are D&T, a deck that likes to disrupt your mana. Oh boy, I am hyped for this. We play a port and pass and port him on upkeep. Now if he makes a land drop, he just loses his city, so we basically wastelanded him and got to keep our land. He plays a wasteland, loses the city, and then wastelands our port to get out of the lock. This is probably the correct thing to do here, but he has been punished for that leading City of Traitors on turn 1.
Wrecked.
We play a Cavern Elemental in order to ensure that we can cast Whips when we draw them. We play a Thalia. He plays a Cavern naming Constructs. We play a Jitte and get in for 2. Another Cavern, this time on Golems. We wasteland one of his lands, equip Jitte and get into the red zone. We now have counters on Jitte, and whilst that isn't great for this matchup, it's still a good place to be. He plays a Glimmer Post and passes back. We get in again. Instead of preemptively naming Grim Monolith on his Revoker, we hold it back in case of another threat like Ratchet Bomb or similar. He casts a Monolith with Soul Land and his 1 mana. We revoke the Monolith, swing, and he just concedes. GG Revoke E. In game 2, he leads with a Cavern and we lead with Aether Vial from a basic Plains. He casts a Monolith and then casts a Metal Worker, and we have little to no way to interact with this. In all fairness, my hand was a bit of a greedy keep with such minimal interaction. We play a second Aether Vial and pass it back. He reveals a Forge Master and a Platinum Empyrean off a Metal Worker and plays a 4-mana Khan, complete with Loincloth to cover his massive robot cock. He upticks Khan and we opt to give him more lands instead of actual gas. We fake out the Vial on 1. Ha! Got him.
You just got pranked, bro!
We need to threaten this Khan, so I cast Fire and Ice and pass back with a Violon 1 and a Violon 2. He plays another Glimmer Post and goes to 24 life. He upticks Khan and we give him a Forge Master over the Ugin. Like, fuck that. He makes approximately 1,000 mana with his Metalworker. And then he casts an Ugin that must have been in his hand already. Fuck my life. Boy oh boy oh boy, Ugin is one majestic and scary looking motherfucker, isn't he? He upticks our face and I feel like we might be on back foot here, lads. I am clenched. 5p territory. I draw Stoneforge Mystic. I decide that I need to keep him off deploying threats and decide to reduce his total mana by blowing up his Cloud Post. So then he uses mana to untap Monolith in response, which I kind of was dumb on my part, and I blanked like that was something he'd probably do. In essence, I'm playing to a Revoker here in order to not die to a down tick from Ugin wrathing my board when I play creatures. He plays a Wasteland and blows up my Caracas. Ha! Joke's on you, old friend. I had another one hidden up my sleeve the whole time. Print, bro! He makes a rather chunky hunk off of Khan and makes 6 mana off his Metalworker and summons a Forge Bastard or two. Ugin shoots us in the face. I make a Stoneforge Mystic and grab a Jitte, and then I make a Flicker Wisp and reset Ugin with him in order to avoid an ultimate from him anytime soon. We clip Fire and Ice and get into the red zone, punching with the face in order to trigger the Fire and Ice. We connect, draw Recruiter, and kill the Metalworker. Now, we recruit off a Vial for a Revoker, and we snap Revoke the Ugin off of our second Vial. Have we managed to turn a corner here? Have we played to our outs? On his turn, he makes a Soul Land with a Vesuva, makes a Construct off of Khan and swings for 8. We untap and draw Palace Jailer. Better lucky than good. We swing in the air to see what our opponent does. I'm expecting a Blightsteel at the end of the turn, to be honest. He taps his untapped Forge Master, sacks a Monolith and both chunky mini Khan friends, and finds a Steel Hellkite. This terrifies me as a crackback from Steel almost guarantees the death of Revoker, but instead, he blocks with it.
What?
Okay. They trade. I don't re-equip my sword as I want to activate Stoneforge on end step. He up-tips Khan and we give him another Metalworker. He casts it and a Monolith. We make a Squire in end step. Oh, and a Batterskull too. Oh, it's beautiful. I tick up both my vials, perhaps signposting the Jailer a little bit too much. I equip Fire and Ice to Batterskull and get in the red zone. Our opponent blocks and then sacks off the blocker to avoid lifelink. He sacks 3 things to grab a Revoker and names Aether Vial. This is a solid line considering how few lands we actually have. We can't respond because by the time we know what is happening, it's just too late to respond. He takes up Khan and we give him another land. We draw our second Dead in Hand Gideon and attack with Batterskull Germ, all suited and booted. He blocks with Forge Master. Good riddance to bad rubbish. He untaps, makes contact of Khan and casts yet another fucking Forge Master. We disenchant the Revoker and Jailer the Forge Master at end step. We attack his face with our War Machine that we've built and send our weenies off to Khan. He blocks our self-built Titan and Khan dies, and then we play Jitte. I feel like we are now considerably ahead, praying he doesn't have all his dust coming in his next few cards or some sort of Oblivion Stone or similar effect. He slams a Wormcoil Engine. We cast a turn 10 Serra Avenger and put a Jitte on it. We slam with Germ Titan and he snap blocks and splits the Wormcoil Engine in half. He attacks and I forget about being a Monarch and don't block, like an idiot. He takes the crown and gets back his Forge Master. Wow, that's a fucking punt! If I remembered this, I would have definitely blocked his Wormcoil Engines, whether it would be group block to kill them or just champing. I would not have let that happen. I attack him with an Avenger wielding a sword and a Jitte and draw Plowshares off with a sword trigger, which means I'm just basically a jammy bastard. I deal with the Forge Master with the Plowshares. He casts a Coercive Portal, was this almost a Wrath? But as I vote for non-Wrath every time, he'll just get closer and closer to finding more inevitability and gas as well, so the card's just quite good here. He attacks the Death Touching end of the leftover Wormcoil parts and we just throw a Squire under the bus. You fought valiantly and your sacrifice will not be in vain, I promise you, my fair mystic. I consider attaching Skull to Avenger, but decide keeping bounce mana up might be good just in case. I attack, draw Thalia and decide to resolve Gideon to try and end this game. We make a Knight and port our opponent on upkeep in order to put them back to just 6 mana. He plays another Soul Land and we finally see the Empyrean that was in his hand from the opening. We equip Batterskull to Avenger and get in. We use the 2 damage from the sword and the 6 counters on Jitte after the attack to kill the Empyrean there and then. I decide to pump out more Knights and cast a Needle naming Ugin in case of some random Dismember or Warping Well kills my Revoker at this point. A Lodestone Golem comes down and a second portal, which means he's drawing 2 extra cards a turn and a Chalice on 1 from our opponent. We draw a 1 mana removal spell right on time because that's what happens when your opponent plays Chalice, right? Yeah. I use Counter Judgment to kill his lifelinker and decide to get into the red zone with all of our stuff barring like 1 creature, including the Gideon ticked up as well, and he just concedes mid-declaring attacks. He can't even bother to see if he can survive it. Now that was a big old game of Magic, and funnily enough, I'm super happy that I never saw Brightling, as the card would have been complete and utter trash during that match. Round 3, another one-lander with my Cavern of Souls. This seems to be happening a lot across these leagues. I don't know if that's Modo bug with Cavern, because the program's a lot of shit, or just because I'm unlucky. Brightling in hand too. Meh, we mulligan into this and seems fine against Faradex. Mum gets 4, suggesting they are planning on interacting with my creatures. Pierce leads me to consider Miracles or perhaps Ominous Show, although they wouldn't have forced the Mother, I feel, if they're an unfair combo deck. Our opponent leads with Vulcan to Ponder, and I feel like it's going to be Sneak and Show. Perhaps the Force of Will was just a bad play from them. I play with Vulcan and I name Sneak Attack just to be safe. I don't think there are very many mainboard names for other Volcanic Island decks in the format. This might even be the Splashland from Miracles, in which case Jace or Teferi is a better name, or if it's Delver, potentially mainboard Lava Monsters. Our opponent finds all this very, very funny. He asks if I am high. Yes, my friend, I'm high on life. We banter some more about the format and everyone being on combo right now, and he slams a big old goify boy. We get a perfect draw in Wasteland against the Rug Delver deck. We slam Stoneforge Mystic with Wasteland up in case of days. No days. So we just blow up his Volk Island and put him off red. We fetch a Bat Skull so we can race this big guy's big creatures. Block Mongooses and eventually just ride a Skull Germ carrying a sword to victory. He brainstorms and then laments himself for not dazing the Stoneforge in order to keep his lands alive. He plays a second drop and decides not to attack. We make a land drop and pass back. He plays a Wasteland of his own and a second Goif. End step Bat Skull from us, a line that's apparently just too good for modern. Can you imagine it? Me making this and then dying to Gifts Ungiven Storm? Oh, can't let that happen. We play another Mystic and get Fire and Ice. We make our land drops, meaning we get to make the Sword this turn, the non-summoning sick Mystic this turn. He doesn't do anything, doesn't risk swinging. We go to equip Sword in our turn and he ices our Germ for a turn to tap it. We play a Vial and we pass. He lets loose his first Goose. We untap, go to cast our Thalia and he just gives up. I will admit this is one scary ass motherfucking Germ. In game 2 on the draw we keep a hand with Vial, Plowshares, Mystic and Port on it. The Avenger is just icing on the proverbial cake. Chop into Ponder, he decides to force our Vial, pitching his second Ponder. This is basically a very specific hint to Turok. I don't feel that bad about it. He plays a big, obnoxiously large Goif. I say to him that keeping forcing on the play seems a little bit odd to me as Delver, but there you go. I decide to play around Days and plough his Goif. He plays another one and I decide to just plough that and end step this time round, not playing around Days, but this means I can guarantee next turn resolving a 3-mana threat if I draw one. The plough resolves though, goodbye Goify. I grab Fire and Ice for the Stoneforge and pass back, playing through Days this time because I didn't draw a 3-mana threat. A combination of Brainstorm and Fetch Land managed to bag him a third Goif. I draw and deploy a second Mystic, this time grabbing Bat Skull, ready to put into play an end step with the first Mystic. He brainstorms and part of me considers not actually putting the Skull into play if he keeps up Ancient Grudge mana and play the long game. He casts a Ponder and doesn't make a land drop, so I guess it's time to get suited and booted. We make a Skull and a Germ, untap, make a Sword and equip it and get into the red zone. I jokingly ask him as I pass back, no grudge one time. He says that sadly there is no grudge. He loses his last Goosey, bolts our Mystic and gives up. Thanks for being a fun sport, scavenging booze. It was fantastic banter while we played, and may your Gooses connect with Face more often in future, just not with me. So we come to our first game playing against an evolved version of the format's previous boogeyman. This appears to be some form of Grixis Delver. Opponents put up results with it previous to the ban as well. He leads Delta, we lead Plains. Turn 2 he just cracks both his fetches, gets 2 black saucers and fucking hymns us. Fun fact, I've lost about 90% of the games I've got hymned in on camera on this channel when playing Death and Taxes. There's one thing better against D&T than 1-for-1 removal or trading, it's 2-for-1s that favour you. We lose both Prelate and Stoneforge, which was pretty fucking bad because Stoneforge is probably quite important for this matchup. I guess no matter how you slice it, it was never going to be a feel-good hymn anyway. Cavern on Human, play Thalia, he untaps, kills Thalia with Push. Fun little fact for you guys, my Discord server tells me that people don't play Push in Legacy. They said people just don't play Push. Don't play Push. Cunts. He ponders, we play Jailer onto an empty board in order to claw back some card advantage. He plays a Strix and we untap and plough it with the removal spell we had in hand in order to avoid losing the Monarchy. This was the plan the whole time, but doing it on a Strix feels less good than doing it on, say, a Goif. Jailer gets pushed. That's right, folks. He gets pushed. We wasteland both his blue sources, play a port. We go to port him and upkeep and just scoops it up. That felt good and we won through a hymn. That probably wouldn't have gone that way if he had a Deathrite Shaman. You do realise that, right? Preordain on turn 1 from him. We cast Resolve a Vial. He is F6, so I assume no counter magic in his hand at all. He resolves a Strix and we resolve a Stone for Mystic. It just snaps to the board again, F6, no counter magic. However, he does have another fucking push. Oh, so many pushes. Please stop. He plays a Gourmet Angler. That's a huge fucking fish. He then sticks a Jace whilst we fuck about with Jittes and Vials. We may have a turn where we can make a Wisp and a Mother, allowing us to kill Jason the following turn, get some counters on Jitte, kill the Burden, Jailer the Gurmag. That's the plan anyway. Unfortunately, this hymn has other plans. We have to vial in our only viable threats right now unless we fall further behind. We lose both Jailer and Batterskull. Ponder finds a bolt and Wisp dies. Ugh. We draw and violent an Avenger and equip the Jitte. Jace attempts to bounce Mother so we protect her and she dies to K-Command, which also pops our sword. At this point it's basically game over. He plays a second owl and hits us with his fish. We untap and equip Jitte and keep our Vile on 2 to allow us to revile a bounced Avenger. We take the opportunity to block and kill the Gurmag with the Jitte count as a trading Avenger for the fish. He then plays a third fucking owl, which our deck just can't deal with. Mirran Crusader would be great right now. Oh. This is fucking awkward. She's bad against Jace, she's bad against Belfastrix, she's bad against Gurmag Angler, and she's only marginally okay against its removal. Mirran Crusader, come back, I miss you. He attacks for 2 in the end, makes a zombie fish. We vile her in. We're fucking desperate here, so we vile Wisp to get rid of the fish and attack with a Jitte equipped Brightling to chase. Of course it is blocked, and we use the counter to kill the other 2. A 1 for 3 on our side, except that each of the birds drew a card, so yeah, the maths doesn't work out to be in our favour. If that was a Mirran Crusader, by the way, Jace would be fucking dead as a dodo. We draw a path and remove his clock. He then Jace storms into double Grim Lavamancer. My deck simply cannot beat that. There is no line that gets us out of this. I guess Brightling would be marginally better in this spot than Mirran Crusader, but would still fucking die. Game 3, our Violence Force, which is okay. He ponders. We resolve Thalia and we plough his Grimmy. We start getting to the red zone and we stick a Mum. He plays Dark Confidant and we plough that too. So far, so ploughed. He doesn't do a whole lot and we hit him a bunch. A 4-mana K-Command eventually comes to kill our fresh Vial and make us discard a card. I discard Wisp instead of Mother here because outside of Wraths, Mother will keep us in the game more and is more valuable here. Obviously Wisp will provide a better clock, but just 2 bits of removal means that we get blown out. Also, he appears to be playing something like 6 basic lands, which is pretty mental for a 3-colour deck in Legacy, and I think that's a bit mental. We draw another Thalia, which is frustrating, and deploy our second Mother. Nothing from him. Our Rising Canopy from us to crack eventually on his end step. Will this Thalia go the distance with Karakas backup? That is the question. We just need to dodge that Deluge for 1. We take him to 8. He plays a Gurmag as a big old roadblock, and we draw Batterskull, which we can't cast through Thalia at the moment anyway. Do not cross go. Do not collect full life every turn. We pro-black Thalia with one of our mums and swing to take him to 6. Come on. 1 time, no Deluge. He swings and we take it, and then a massacre. He ponders the wanton destruction left in his way. Can I just ponder a fucking concession? In my moment of tilt, I didn't return Thalia from the field to my hand with Karakas because magic is fucking hard. Okay, let's try and fix this shit. I cast Batterskull, he has the hard cast Force of Will for it. Fuck me. Fine, we can still recover. We play Vile and Thalia as a chump blocker who can survive thanks to Karakas. We block, we bounce, and boy, fuck, another push. We've broken on a land. Come on, give some more bodies, deck. I believe in you. Well, okay, we drew a body, we drew a road cam. We deploy off the Varn, block, and take another draw. He's making land drops and only has 1 card in hand, so we aren't dead yet. Then he plays a Grim Lavamancer, which is pretty rough. It means most of our lines are now still not going to get us there. We then draw possibly our best draw, which is Recruiter. Oh baby, let's do it. We have so many options here. We deploy Recruiter, get a Wisp, cast Wisp to flicker our Recruiter, end step, get a 2-drop to maximise bodies on the field. We could get the second Revoker to turn off the Lavamancer, but that doesn't kill him dead and gives him a turn to dig off of a cantrip or just draw some hot fire like a removal spell. Fire and Ice off of a Stoneforge allows us to play and equip it next turn and just kill him even off of a Stoneforge attacking. The other option is a Thalia that we could protect with Karakas. I think the Fire and Ice line is better because we'll have enough bodies and mana to get it equipped even through a Grimmy, and we're just dead to any form of removal off the top anyway, so we might as well go for the line that kills him and doesn't give him another turn. We just need to dodge removal 1 time. He goes aggressive and attacks after a Brainstorm, 1 card in hand. And it's a fucking Thoughtseize. We violence Stoneforge Mystic and just hope to God we can top deck the Fire and Ice for the whim. He shoots the Wisp dead prior to untapping in case of Var shenanigans, which is pretty smart. We need Recruiter, Stoneforge, or just Fire and Ice straight up off the top to win the game here. Nope, that's a land. We're dead. GG, Brightling was fucking terrible. Okay, we come to our final round, a basic land opener. I always assume that if it's an island show and tell of some description, I should probably stop doing that. We lead Var when it resolves, and this is great news if it is sneak attack. He plays a soul land and it's some variant of show and tell, so I was actually right with my first inclinations this time round. We untap, tick Vile up, play a port and pass the turn. End step Intuition for Omniscience times 3, because I guess being omniscient means that you could always throw away the ability to be omniscient and remain omniscient, kind of like how infinity minus infinity is still infinity. Yeah, what we're talking about? He untaps and we port him to try and take him off of Show and Tell into Omniscience this turn. Omniscience has improved Show and Tell's matchup against D&T to no end. We can no longer just O-Ring affect their creature when it comes in, like by putting in O-Ring or Palace Jailer or Fiend Hunter off of the Show and Tell. Yeah, Omniscience gives them more inevitability as well. He plays a fetch down and passes, we untap Wastelander's Tomb to make a Thalia off his vial, and then we port his island. This is fucking sick. We untap, attack for 2, pass the turn and port. We keep prelating our vial until we have as much information as possible. If he plays a land and cracks a fetch, we just vial it in on 3 to stop Show and Tell and Kozilek's return as a wishable sideboard card if they are on the wish variant.
Oh, hi, Mark.
We untap and cast Stoneforge Mystic and pass with port up again after attacking for 4, taking him to 12. We port him off the Volk he played last turn. We attack him for another 4, taking him to 8, meaning that Battle Scar is lethal here, and he just isn't doing anything. He takes a draw and he concedes. He can't beat through this hate. In game 2, we ditch an OK hand that is very slow, doesn't do any form of disruption, which is what we need here. I'm unsure whether they keep forcing on the play in game 2, but decide to risk it rather than go to 5. We scry Thalia to the bottom of the deck. He preordains. We deploy Vial, he brainstorms main phase with no fetch land, is locked to whatever's on top, and he plays Soul Land, Petal, and casts Blood Moon. Now, I really don't like Sneak bringing in Blood Moon into Death and Taxes. I don't think it does enough while slowing itself down too much. He plays one more Petal for good measure. We draw a land and slam Thalia. The land was a wasteland, so we might end up wisping out the moon to blow up a land if he misses a land drop. Currently, this Petal is his only blue source, by the way, because Blood Moon's turn was landed to mountains.
Everyone loves a fucking good mountain.
He plays another sideboard card in EE in order to be able to blow up our Vial. He thinks for a while about using his Petal now, but decides it's too valuable to do now and lets us have one more turn with the Vial. We draw a second Wasteland attack for 2, taking him to 16. He pumps the EE, we fake out for the fun of it, and the Vial dies. We draw Stoneforge, so we slam it into play to increase the clock with some equipment. On his turn, he feels forced to Pyroclasm us, using his Petal to ensure that we don't get to equip that sword next turn, because that means Pyroclasm won't answer the threat. This feels very good for us. We draw Plains, play Wisp number 1, and Wasteland his Soul Land once we've flickered the Blood Moon out. He doesn't do anything in this turn with his solitary Blood Red Mountain. We draw Disenchant, which I've brought in case of Sneak. We destroy the Moon and Wasteland him again. He now has no permanents in play on turn 6. That must be rough as balls. We hit him for 3, down to 11. Absolutely nothing from him, not even a land drop, so we beat him to 8 and cast Sword of Fire and Ice. He finally plays on the land, a Soul Land. He concedes before we get to equip the sword. What a spoil sport. A respectable 4-1, we got some good matchups, although Mud probably has the best of the prison stomping matchups against us due to the nature of some of their threats. If that Brightling wasn't a piece of shit and was actually a good magic card like Mirran Crusader, I think we could have actually turned the Grixis game into a win. Ultimately, after 3 leagues with her, I just don't think she does anything. She seems alright in the Miracles matchup, but the fact that we can't shoot her for her hurts even more. People saying she's a mirror breaker or smoking some form of crack. You need evasion and ways to interact with equipment in the mirror, and she does neither. Ultimately, I don't think you'll be using her in my lists again in future. I haven't been happy to see her across 14 of my 15 league games. The one game where she was a good beater, Brimaz or Crusader, would probably have done the job better anyway. I hope you enjoyed this little foray into the post-Deathrite Shaman world of Legacy. Make sure you comment below to let me know what you think of the bannings, Legacy in general, and this hot topic of Brightling. I stream every Monday at 7 PM on Twitch, so come hang out, and I upload every Friday or Saturday with a big magic video like this. This was a fucking big one. This is like a 6,000 word script, so don't hate me for taking so long to come out, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and tweet me pictures of your next curry that you eat, because I fucking love curry. In the meantime, stay safe, be good to one another, and for the love of all that is fucking holy, take Brightling out of your D&T lists and sell it on your trade groups. One love.
We